Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Hey, welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of July 1st. We're recording it on June 28th. This is number 159 during the time of the pandemic. And now for our sports section. We suggest you do sports and not war. And we've got with us our really close buddy. We miss him all the time because he's no longer in Chicago, but he is here with us from Newark, Delaware, the one and only great track coach, teacher, human being, Gordon Thomson. Good morning, good afternoon to you, Gordon.
Hello, Chicago. Hello, Michael James and the world of the Heartland at home.
We're doing it. So you just been to Florida, and you and I last year went to Florida to case out your old stomping grounds of Gainesville, where you ran track and did a lot of other things. And you were just down there again, and you had a car that blew up on you and you had to go back. Tell us a little bit about your great adventure.
Well, I bought a Honda Accord thinking that the engine would run forever. And sure enough, I blew a rod down in Gainesville, Florida, and had to replace the engine to the tune of about $10,000, and beats buying a new car these days, or even a used car these days. And so everybody has little ups and downs with their mechanical.
Tell me.
And the human body.
I love that car because we drove all over Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. We put a lot of miles on that car, and I'm hopefully you'll drive it back out here and we get to travel around some more.
Yeah, I did nickname that car Ebbets after Ebbets Pass in the Sierra Nevada mountains, right near Donner Pass, where the ill-fated transmission of the folk in the 1800s in a big snowstorm. Yeah. So down in Gainesville, Florida, I was watching the College World Series with a bunch of my buddies. That was University of Florida versus LSU, Louisiana State University. And I'll tell you what a College World Series it was. It was just a phenomenal. And game one was won by LSU in a really tight match of from 4-3. And with my buddies, we watched game two. And that was just an onslaught of just hit after hit, home run after home run, and Florida just outdistancing LSU 24-4.
And you thought you were golden then.
Oh my God, we would have thought we were in Fat City, yeah. And with my buddies came up a dialogue of rivalries. And I said, hey, when you were going to school here, who was your rivalry? And we all agreed it was University of Georgia was our number one rivalry. But
that's
now,
track and field or football or everything?
Primarily because of football. And that was, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is the Florida-Georgia game. And, they're really heated contests. But now, over the last 5 years, my number one rival for my university is LSU, Louisiana State. And I'm wondering why that is. Well, how did that transition come? Well, it's hard to hate Georgia. They're doing a lot of things right. Their football coach is very well coached. The team is doing things on the up and up. Not underneath the cloud of investigation, but and the town of Athens is a great town for music and activity and social life. That town is really happening. So it's hard to hate Georgia. LSU is easy. LSU, it's really easy to hate. The fans are obnoxious. The town is the only thing going on in Baton Rouge is LSU.
Well, we used to get community coffee from Baton Rouge for the Heartland Cafe, but other than that,
Well, isn't Community Coffee from New Orleans?
No, it's Baton Rouge.
So one good thing coming out of Baton Rouge. And, Red Stick, Louisiana is hot, humid, and really just a sultry town. And how the old ladies in the crowd are just really just have venomous mouths. It's just incongruous of just what's going on. So we got to talking. Is a rivalry helpful for just normal psychosis or normal psychology? Is it good to hate somebody else or good to hate another?
I don't think so.
Well, you'd think it wouldn't be, but you think about the duality of nature. The yin and the yang.
I think about it all the time.
The yin and the yang of life, the light and the dark side, the good and the evil. We need human natures. We need someone to oppose us. We need someone to be against. So our natural rivalries as Democrats is the Republicans.
For me, I tend to choose teams by if the state is red or blue these days. And neither of those states meets my standards. Although I think Florida could come back around. I do, and actually Louisiana does have a Democratic governor. But didn't you and I see some of the same players when we went to a University of Florida game last year? So I was thinking I might scour my photographs and see if any of the people, I'll send them to you and you can see if there's anyone of note there. But what happened in the outcome of the World Series?
Well, game 3 was all LSU. LSU socked it to the Gators, just like the Gators socked it to LSU in game 2. So 18-4 was the score of the last game. So it's a best of 3 series. LSU won 2 of the 3, and they won their 7th national championship in baseball. Hey, almost all of the stands at Omaha were packed with LSU fans. And that team, that school travels really well, whereas there was very few Gator fans in the stands at Omaha, Nebraska. Why is it? Well, hey, it's an easy drive for LSU. You can drive up north, but you got to fly if you're going from Florida. So it's a lot harder to travel. But LSU winning 7, congratulations to them on their 7th national championship in baseball. But Florida Gators won it in track and field this spring and in men's golf. And women's track and field finished runner-up. So track and field almost duplicated last year's feat of winning both the men's and the women's national outdoor track championship.
Let's talk a little bit about the women's NBA, Women's National Basketball Association. You have something on travel.
Well, yeah, Brittany Griner just came out with the shame of how the NBA structures their travel between competitions and them having to fly commercial versus chartered or non-commercial flights. And she got targeted. Somebody came out and a regular fan followed her, tracked her down, and in the airport was targeted with abusive language and abusive behavior. So that was the tipping point for the women's NBA to start making travel plans a little bit more like the men's NBA, where it's all chartered flights. Hey, I remember like when I was working at I think it was at DePaul, and I was on a commercial flight, and there sitting right next to me was Bill Laimbeer, who at the time was the head coach of the Detroit women's team, the Shock. And I couldn't believe that he's flying commercial in coach, and how it was possible for Bill Laimbeer to fit his 6'11" frame into a regular coach seat. He did it. And he's sitting next to me, and I just looked over and I knew immediately who he was, and he's trying to just hang to himself. But I said to him in a non-accusatory way, I said, Bill, as a Chicago Bulls fan, the whole city hated you. You were the number one evil for the Chicago Bulls. And he just cracked a big smile and he said, yep, I know. And that's all it took was, yep, I know. And that's all I got out of Bill Laimbeer in coach. But it just goes to show, here's a big dude, 6'11", forced to fly coach in a commercial flight. He'd already played his NBA career. He was already an all-star. Why to force this head coach of an women's NBA team to fly commercial and coach was beyond me.
So this has changed. They're going to now fly charter flights for women's NBA.
Well, it's expensive to fly charter. You know, it takes not just a couple hundreds, but thousands and thousands of dollars to charter these flights. So it's tens, if not hundreds of thousands per flight to get a women's NBA team to travel. So it's a big money commitment by the NBA, but hey, you know, it's necessary. So yep, now the National Basketball Association has agreed to upgrade women's NBA travel.
Oh, that's good. Now, I know one of your favorite things that we've talked about every year or whenever it happens is the Tour de France. And how about letting it go on? Tell us about the Tour de France and what you see coming up and when it is, et cetera.
Today, we're taping this on Wednesday, but as it comes live on July the 1st, Saturday, it's kickoff time. It's launch time for the Tour de France. It opens up on Saturday, July 1st. Hey, it's called the Tour de France, the tour of the country of France. But where does it start? Bilbao, Spain. So it's just over the border from France in the Basque region of Spain, and start and finishes in the great city of Bilbao, where we have some of the most phenomenal architecture in the world. The Guggenheim Museum, done by Frank Gehry, is in Bilbao, Spain, and it's really picturesque town. But this year's Tour de France is a replay of last year's, of two youngsters going at it head to head. 24-year-old Tadej Pogacar against 25-year-old Jonas Vingegaard from Denmark. So these two youngsters are part of the new youth movement in road cycling. And the advantage goes to Vingegaard, last year's winner, because he's got the stronger team. And you think, in bicycling, what does a team have to do with it? Well, you got to have support personnel, somebody to bring you water, somebody to hand you your food on your way, and someone to protect you, having a team of like-minded bike riders to surround you, to protect you when trouble comes, when crashes occur on the road. Maybe your bike gets a flat tire, having a teammate nearby so you could switch bikes and then ride on your teammate's bike, whereas you don't have to wait around for your team car to fix your flat. So having a strong team is really good. And there's one guy on Vingegaard's team that is especially significant, and that's an American, Sepp Kuss, and he's from Durango, Colorado, at altitude. So mountainous town, Sepp is well averse to altitude, and that is what he's great at. He's a really very light-bodied rider, so he can really fly up the mountains and really help protect his teammates and really set the pace and really set a tempo that other teams can't set. So that one by one, other teams fall off their supporting personnel, and just what's left is just the cream of the crop. So having strong teammates is great. And we got Sepp Kuss as the strongest American in the race.
Well, that's a hell of a name. And I had some good times in Durango, I got to say. What else you got? You got anything on coming up in track and field, or the NC2As, or anything happened that people ought to know?
Well, the NC2As was just a couple of weeks ago for out in Austin, Texas, and phenomenal job by the Florida Gators to set a new collegiate record in the last event of the day. And the Florida Gators had to win that event to win it, and had to have Texas A&M or University of Alabama, rather, to finish fourth or worst. So you can't control what the other team's going to do, but Florida went and did its business, set a new collegiate record in that event, 356, having like 4 or 5 teams under 3 minutes in a 4x4 is miraculous. And so they pulled it off, and the other team finished 5th or 6th. So perfect scenario.
Well, Gordon Thomson, we know you were a steeplechaser, and then you were a noted coach on a lot of fronts at a few schools. What is your favorite sport and why?
My favorite sport? Ping pong.
Really?
No.
Ping pong is a fun game, though.
Well, the only noted thing that I really got off about ping pong is it's the smallest square foot area of any Olympic sport. 48 square feet, and hosts table tennis. So a little known fact, and that makes ping pong or table tennis special in this world. What is my favorite sport? Whatever's going on, whatever's fired up at the time. Coaching cross country and track, what was my favorite during that? It was 3 different sports: cross country in the fall, winter track in the winter, and spring or outdoor track in the spring. So what was my favorite? Whatever was going on during that time. During that time was my favorite. It's hard to beat cross country, though, with the team aspect of having 5 people score and 7 as a team, all unified, doing the same thing. Kind of like basketball, where all 5 know where everybody else is on that team, and have to have a good court presence, and everybody's got to be able to play their role and fit in.
I got a couple of things I want to mention. I did see that there's a possibility. I mean, Derrick Rose is probably not going back to the Knicks, and there is some rumors going on that he may come to Chicago to close out his career. That would be wonderful. We'd love to have him do that.
Well, who was Derrick Rose's coach at the Bulls when he was playing so well in Chicago? Well, we got to bring Tom back then. We got to bring the band back. Huh?
He's coaching the Knicks. I don't know what the story is, why they're letting him go. He didn't play much at the end.
Yeah. In fair shake, Billy Donovan has been doing a great job with the Bulls, and I'm sure the city of Chicago is recognizing that. And he's a really hotshot dude, man.
Well, you like him because he used to be at Florida, right?
Well, I like anybody who achieves excellence that overcomes adversity. Before Billy got to University of Florida, only one coach, Lon Kruger, got Florida into the Final Four. And Lon found out really quick that the whole state is really not a basketball state. It's a football state. So Lon bailed and went to University of Illinois, and then had success, and then finished his career at Oklahoma. But Lon saw the writing on the wall that Florida was not a basketball, and was not going to be able to get basketball to reach the premier levels. Well, Billy Donovan did it. Yeah, he was able to assemble a whole cast of characters. Joakim
Noah.
Yeah, Noah. So phenomenal player on that, and my favorite basketball player, and outside of Dennis Rodman. And, anybody that's able to overcome adversity, those are phenomenal people.
Well, Gordon Thomson, it's always great talking to you. I miss seeing you. I miss being in your presence. We've done a lot of things together, including StoryCorps, which supposedly they're going to play. We'll let people know about that. Do you have any parting words?
Yeah, I do got some parting words. Michael, I heard about your bad fall in El Paso, Texas, and it's great for me to not see any scars on your face. So
I was very lucky, but I got to say, I got a very sore elbow, and my already roughed up, crashed shoulder from Durango, Colorado, back in the old days, is really sore. I am going to a doctor about it, but I'm back in the pool. I weighed in at 206 today, which, there was a time I was 255. I was a tackle. Now I'd have to be a linebacker or a quarterback, but that would be impossible. Anyhow, Gordon, it's great talking to you. And you say hi to your mom. And we'll have you back on sometime in the next month. And I'm looking forward to seeing you as soon as I can.
Yeah, I'll hopefully see you sometime in July.